got the Apocalypse Tarot. I don't know if any of you all seen this. It was referred to me by Christine Payne Teller. I don't know if anybody's here right now. But it's a beautiful deck. But it has some problems. I actually want to get the Masonic Tarot. I don't know if anybody wants to see this. Let me know if you want to see the Apocalypse Tarot. Anybody here? Bueller. I have my black tea. This is not Darjeeling. This is Kimon tea. I made this earlier. It's Kimon tea from China. Anybody here? Anybody in my room with me? I kind of do want to use the Apocalypse Tarot. Happy summer solstice. Here is the sun. Look at that card. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's pretty tight. That is God the Sun, Bogslants. This is written, I don't know if it's Bulgarian or, I forget. I think it's Norwegian. It was written in like a Norwegian way. So, Bogslants. And I'll get perfect for today. I'll get the commentary out. Oh no, my phone's right there. So the commentary is on the phone of the Apocalypse Tarot. It happened to be that card too. Pretty good card stock. I got a really cool book that relates to this tarot. I think it could anyway. Let's see where is it. It's Edinger's Archetype of the Apocalypse. And in it, he gives a psychological commentary on Revelation, which this tarot deck is based on, and which Swedenborg wrote a commentary on as well. But it's hell of volumes. It's Apocalypse Explained and Apocalypse revealed. Here, let me grab it real quick. Yeah, so each one of these is like 4 volumes. I got these by a bishop. And there's a lot of work. The Apocalypse Tarot has like 2 books. The Apocalypse Explained has 4 books, and the Apocalypse Revealed has 4 books. And then we have Edinger's psychological commentary on the Apocalypse here. That's quite a lot. I don't know who's all in here. Is anybody listening? I don't know if anybody's listening or if I'm talking to these bots. You there? Anyone? I don't know if you're there, so if you're not there, I'll make it brief. What was I gonna say? The rights of the Elu Cohen are based on, according to Serge Callier, the Apocalypse. Serge Callier, the 7 seals of the Elu Cohen, Sept, So, Do. I don't know. I think it's called the 7 Seals of the Elu Cohen. It's a French book. But that's built on the Apocalypse too. However, I don't have an English translation of that, and I'm not a Francophile, so that's a little bit tough. So those are all my Apocalypse tools. I don't know. So yeah. Just the apocalyptic summer. Try to pull up on my tablet the book for that tarot, which is on my network, but you're seeing a phone, so I can't like grab my phone and pull up a book. I'm gonna grab the tablet. All these cool devices. But this has, I think I have an expansion card in here. I'm not sure. Too many devices. You got the phone here, a tablet here, a VR thing back there, the laptop right here. And then not to mention, none of that is as powerful as the technology of the tarot, but I don't know who wants to hear that. I'll tell you about it though. Let's see here if I can real quickly get the book. I hardly ever use this card, this tablet. Books. Yeah, I never downloaded the book for this tarot onto the tablet, which is fine. Let me go on the laptop. If you got a question, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna do research with you guys on the phone or something. I don't know. I like long walks on the beach. I like tarot cards. Anybody there? Trying to find the verse that card from the Apocalypse Tarot represents, because then we'll do a massive exegesis of that card, especially because it's summer. Shoo. I sound like Olaf, like, I love summer. It's like a lot. Anybody in the room? Hello. You see that right there? That's a picture of Adam McLean's emerald tablet. Let me see if I can find it real quickly. So one is a deck guide. It's not really what I wanted, but yeah, it's not the best. Let's see if it's in the book. $58. So yeah, here it is. This is the card that I just pulled out of the Apocalypse Tarot. It's the Sun. But this deck is a little bit dark, so it doesn't necessarily talk about the Sun. Let's see if we can find something else. It's an archetype. So we got the Archetype of the Apocalypse by Edinger. Hey! You're here now. I'm not talking to robots. But I'm not as intense as I was that one time. I didn't give an entire presentation to robots. Let's see. Basically, I'm looking at all my Tarot the Apocalypse and doing an interpretation of the card. Who else is in here that likes Eminem? Am I Eminem? Yo. I used to rap when I was younger. Now I just do tarot. I was a pretty good rapper, though. You'd be surprised. I don't do that anymore. So, Chantel, happy solstice, by the way. It's summer solstice. Ooh, okay. How you been? I'm alright. Still doing the same stuff I always do. Are apocalypse zombies? No. So, the biblical book of Revelations, this tarot is centered on that. This is the tarot of the apocalypse. And I got a bunch of tools to go along with that tarot. Not only is there 2 books for Tarot of the Apocalypse, but I have Edinger's Archetype of the Apocalypse. And then there's 2 book sets, they're 4 volumes each, by Swedenborg called Apocalypse Explained and Apocalypse Revealed. So, deep stuff in the book of Revelations. Now you know. So this is Revelations chapter 1, 12 through 16, where it talks about the 7 golden lampstands. So the sun, this is so cool, the sun is the representation of all of our chakra centers being activated. Yes, Revelations get scary. It's okay, don't be scared. What's more scary is being in a room on live, me talking to robots. That's terrifying. So yeah. This tarot is a little bit not fun for people. This one is way esoteric, but it's got a dark esotericism. As you know me, I have up here the light and dark sides, but this is a dark tarot. It's not happy-go-lucky, like, hey, we're all jumping on rainbows kind of thing. This is not a light-hearted, happy. It is okay to have the pineal gland open. Are you talking about pineal or the penal? Like penal or pineal? What about the chakras? Chakras. Chakras. They're not really open or closed. They can be focalized. You can focus on them, and so your thought energy goes to a specific region of the hierarchy of thought, and those can be easily sorted into chakra zones. Kind of cool stuff. I don't know what book I can use to teach that. Testing me. I probably would go to Sardarian, Torquem Sardarian, because that talks about the subtle bodies. But I don't really have anything. I know it, but I don't have anything good or bad. What's for? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm reading what you're asking though. So we're gonna have a talk about chakras. Basically, the Tibetans. I'm thinking about what to say. So you got the yin yang, the polarities, which is what Abraxas represents. You got the chakras are a sevenfold division of that polarity. You have the mediating center, and then you have the six around, also represented in the Star of David. So there's a governing center chakra that is like a brain for the other three levels and the lower three levels. And as you process the data around, it kind of organizes them into different levels. Are the chakras used for evil? Can be. Can be, because if you are forcing all information in your system through the lower chakras, evil can be seen as your selfish desire to gain only those chakra benefits, which are sex, security, psychological security, just for oneself at the expense of another, and like belief systems, basically. Yeah, exactly. Right. So as the heart allows that information to be processed, it will channel one or the other area. Does that make sense? Causing kind of a good, which is in this area, or an evil, which is in this area, but it's not really like that. It's just basic levels of consciousness and how they're organized. You're all yes. I want to pull a diagram for you. I don't know what would be the best one, though. I don't know right now. Kick all these robots out, too. Please ban them. I don't want any robots in the room if you can. And you're awesome, Chantel. Thanks for all your help. Stay active. It's attractive. Thanks. I'm thinking about what to say on this topic because it's so big. I mean, there's just like so many areas you can chop it up into. So like we were saying, the yin yang is the 2 division. Then you have the 3 divisions, which is usually the heaven, hell, and purgatory of Dante. And you also have the mind, soul, and body of the Christians, pretty much. But the 3 division didn't really take hold all the time, because in the 3, this is super important, in the 3, there is an explicit 4th position, which is the position of, I'm reading while we're talking. I'm not like losing information. I'm reading. It's the position is of the 4th, which is like letting in a realm of experience that reaches deeply into form. So The best way I found it, here, let me grab a book. This is Prokofiev, but it's Steiner anthroposophy, and it talks about his whole idea is that we need to embody the form of the sun. So the sun becomes an earth because it becomes a form that we actually integrate with. This is a really heavy read. There's another portion of it. This talks about a whole bunch of stuff. Did I pay $60 for? I might have paid $60 for this book too. I've never read it, but it's Steiner's Anthroposophy, which I have a whole shelf of Steiner Anthroposophy. Which let me share with you the Foundation Stone meditation. I got this one on purpose. So this is Valentin Tomberg, the author of Meditations on Tarot. He was a devotee of Steiner, highly focused on Steinerism. But the Foundation Stone meditation incorporates a lot of this stuff. I'm going to read you the meditation. It's pretty cool, actually. It's pretty long. It's the Foundation Stone meditation is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs, and it's simply, it is a prayer, but a meditation, a contemplative prayer that forces almost all Rosicrucian experience into your consciousness. So if you're ready, I'll go, but I don't know if you want to do it. It starts a chain reaction, which is like, human soul, thou livest in the limbs which bear thee through the world of space into the spirit's ocean being. Practice spirit recollection in the depths of soul, wherein the wielding will of world creating thine own eye comes to being in God's eye, and thou wilt truly live in human world being. For the Father Spirit of the heights holds sway in depths of worlds, beginning being, seraphim, cherubim, thrones, let there ring out from the heights what is in the depths is echoed. This speaks, ex Deo Nasimer. The spirits and the elements hear it, in the east, west, north, south. May human beings hear it. There's two more that go with this. There's a gigantic amount of explanation, so I won't do that. Human soul, this is the second stanza. Thou livest in the beat of heart and lung, which leads thee through the rhythm of time, into the realm of thine own soul's filling. Practice spirit awareness, in balance of the soul, where the surging deeds of the world's becoming thine own eye. Unite with the world eye, and thou wilt truly feel in human soul weaving, for the Christ will, in the encircling rounds hold sway, in rhythms of worlds, bestowing grace on the soul. Karyotes, dynamis, exui, there, let there be fired from the east, what in the west is formed. This speaks, in Christ, Mortimer. The spirits of the elements hear it. In the east, west, north, south, may human beings hear it. You ready for one more stanza? This is powerful information coming through on Life Me. I don't think anybody's ever said the foundation stone meditation on live video. Human soul, thou livest in the resting head, which from the grounds of eternity open to thee the world thoughts, practice spirit beholding. And stillness of thought were the eternal aims of God's world being light on thine own eye bestow for thy free willing, and thou wilt truly think in human spirit foundations, for the world thoughts of the spirit hold sway in beings of worlds beseeching light, archai, archangeloi, angeloi, let there be prayed from the depths what in the heights will be granted. This speaks per spiritum sanctum visimus. It's a hard Latin word to say. The spirits of the elements hear it. In the east, west, north, south, may human beings hear it. You bored? One more. At the turning point of time, the spirit light of the world entered the stream of earthly being. Darkness of night had held its sway. Day radiant light streamed into human souls. Light that gives warmth to simple shepherds' hearts. Light that enlightens the wise head of kings. O light divine, O Son of Christ, warm thou our hearts, enlighten thou our heads, that good may become what from our hearts we found, and from our heads direct with single purpose. Yeah. That was so cool. Thank you. Namaste. Shantel. Could you hear me the whole time? Was I going all cuckoo? Have you ever taught Bible study? Kind of. I can. It's complicated because Bible study, how should I say? People have their own agenda for Bible study. They don't have the real purpose for which the Bible served as a spiritual keystone for people to like kind of guide through. You would be amazing. I would listen. Aw, make me feel so happy about myself. So the thing about the Bible is it's written for people that don't normally understand what they're reading. So it's written for us in spite of the fact that it's not very well understood by us. And it's not anything to say wrong about the person. It's written in a special time and with a special way of writing, and through schools of thought. So it's not super simple just to open up and start reading and be like, I got the Bible. Like, that's not how the Bible was designed to be focused on. First, it's a grouping of like multiple books through two separate time frames of tribe people. So you have your first nomadic times of the Hebrews, and then the Hebrews had these Hellenistic Greece kind of Jews that were experiencing these traditions from over here in this new culture. So it ranges a gigantic amount of information. And mystery schools are embedded in the Bible, especially in the Apocalypse and in the book of Revelations. That is a gigantic amount of esoteric information in there. So, yeah. It's like a, some have said that Tarot is actual pictorial form of Revelations, but I don't know how true that is. It's really challenged to go there. So yeah. Does that answer your question? My answers are super long. Like, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like I have a lot of information. But no, seriously, the Bible is written in Hebrew, and those Hebrew people went through tons and tons of experiences, not only through their own Judaic faith, but also the deeper mysticism side of it, Kabbalah, which forms part of the mystical impetus or whatever, the energy that's behind the Bible. But lots of people are not going to buy that because there's like a division in world spirituality. There's the esoteric, which is what Tarot is all about. And there's the exoteric, which is the known, the actual, not tradition, but the actual practice of being religious. And that's what a lot of people take the Bible to be, but it's actually a book of esotericism as people practice it exoterically through multiple generations and how culture changed in the middle of it. So it's massively influential, but can easily be misunderstood because they're not just words that relate to one part and the other part. There's lots and lots of stuff happening there. Helpful? I hope. Here, let me show you a book. If you want to learn the Bible, I would get this book. It's called The Bible by Bart Ehrman. He's a biblical scholar, and he goes through most of the books of the Old Testament, no, all of the books of the Old Testament, and gives this kind of biblical study that we're talking about. Not metaphysical. It's not, this book's not metaphysical at all. It's a biblical scholastic work. But this is in Old Testament. So if you want to know Old Testament, I highly recommend Bart Earnhardt's, I think his name, Bart Ehrman's book, The Bible. And you can literally like flip into here and go to a book in the Old Testament and go, what do we got here? Well, there's a little bit of New Testament actually too, but the Gospel of John, Gospel of Luke, Matthew, Mark, but he wrote a book on the New Testament too, but it talks about it all in here. Judaism in the time of Jesus. I mean, it's just on and on and on, but apocalyptic literature. Oh, the book of Job. That is the book. I have it over there. It's Jung's answer to Job, which is not like the Job in the Bible. That's the problem. When I start teaching a core kind of understanding, I would infuse esotericism into the actual biblical scholastic information. So that's why it's very important to study your sources before you listen to somebody teaching about these things, because they will play. But this is Jung's answer to Job. Very cool stuff. This book is really phenomenal, but I don't know how many people like that. That kid Tyler. I don't really see. Who's Tyler? Oh, you're talking to someone named Tyler. I was like, my name's not Tyler. I was like, don't call me Tyler. You're wonderful, Chantel. So that was Revelations through the Apocalypse Tarot, the esoteric symbols. I do. That's all I do. Is I'm a nerd, a freaking brainy nerd. I have tons and tons of books. Yeah, but the Apocalyptic Tarot, and then the apocalypse stuff from Edinger, which talks about this stuff from a Jungian standpoint. Of course, I watch videos. No, I don't know why. Do you want to talk about videos you like? Like movies? You want to go to movies? You can go check out Bishop Kaiser. I'm saying based on what you're talking about. So the study of tarot is a challenge to just go out into the marketplace and learn about, because it's not explored properly. And then these kind of videos aren't very easy to find. What we're talking about, Steiner's anthroposophy, you can look up these topics. Steiner's anthroposophy, the cultural studies of the Bible, and their biblical scholarships. There's a really good book by Karen. I can't remember all these names. Karen King. Her name's Karen King, and she talks about Revelations. And that's from a Gnostic standpoint. They talk about how it was written from John of Patmos in an island in Greece, and blah, 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 on and on and on. Pretty good stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Went to esoteric college. And we live in the days of the internet. Like, if you can't get books that you really want to study, I would challenge your capacity to actually want to study it. Like, in the internet, go to Scribed. You can download a lot of these things. They're not like modern pop books. These are classical studies and educational topics that anybody would know about. Specialized in religious and spiritual studies, but yeah, absolutely, you can learn about this stuff everywhere. Depends on what vein you want to like go explore, though. Like, we're talking about the Judeo-Christian right now. You can also go to the East and Taoism, Indian spirituality, Buddhist. And I don't really do a lot of Aboriginal spirituality, but there are some deep shamanic traditions that come from that through Mexico and the work of Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda. And that's the Toltec tradition. All that stuff that comes from the Don Miguel Ruiz, that's the Toltec tradition of it's called Nagul, Nagual, shamanism. That's really good stuff if you're into the shamanic path, which ties into tarot, but they're not going to mention tarot. It's a form of divination that's not really discussed very much. Tarot, they do use it in Spain. One of my favorite decks, the El Gran Tarot Esoterico. This is the Spanish tarot. So this tarot stuff happened in Spain, which influenced a lot of the stuff in Mexico. But it's too much to talk about. Are we living in Revelations right now? Well, every generation thinks that they are in an apocalyptic time. since the beginning of human consciousness, we've had an experience that, things are horrible, things are all going to hell, it's not the way it used to be. And that's because our belief systems don't always have continuity throughout life and consciousness showing us you're all right. So, even in the time, this is a perfect example, even in the times of John of Patmos and the early 4th century of Christianity and Judaism, and all of the stuff they had going on there, which we have no clue about. I mean, we literally have no clue how they lived. As far as an experience and knowing it from that level of there's lights around, we're in shelters, I'm not getting killed by nomadic warriors that want to drag me out of the room, even little cards that took massive amounts of work to put together. They didn't have these kind of technologies or resources available at that time. So, I mean, you gotta realize the times that these things were written for, not written for moderns. Although they touch some of the existential and psychological truths, they don't really speak to our time, Anyway, in the Apocalypse, the Revelations book, they had the same feeling, like it's all doom and gloom and everything's going to break apart and there's no way that anything is going to be real, and that, the only way to go to real experience is to have this mystical Christ-like experience, which is going to shatter your world. And they did it in very apocalyptic literature. Has been around for a very long time. So this is just one of them. Another one is in the Nag Hammadi, but they talk about cycles of destruction and creation throughout all world literature. That's my short answer. They talk about destruction and creation through all world literature. Every generation is terrified of losing the belief systems that it formed as it goes into life and experiences the vicissitudes of consciousness as it racks us back and forth through the breaking of these crystallized forms of belief. That's how I would say it. And in that, these people and these religious organizations or spiritual traditions have written about that specific dynamic of being broken out of the known into the unknown, and your archetypes and images of consciousness have make you feel lost, kind of thing. Super short answer. A very short answer. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know. That's some popcorn, I guess. So most people won't go this deep into their own foundations in psychology. It's just not something that is fun to delve into. Why our minds, why our experiences, why our ontology and our epistemology are wiring us to have this kind of breakthrough experience. But apocalyptic literature. I didn't know. I wanted to talk about something happy, not apocalypse, but I guess that's what happens when you turn on the camera and start flipping around about all these ideas. Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Won't you come and wash away the rain? That's kind of what happens is the belief can't be fostered anymore throughout the breaking of its certainty. That's what I would say. The belief, the unquestioned certainty, it starts to break down as we go through life. And, it's like, oh my God, things aren't as certain as I thought they were. No, they never were. Like, we made up those things. And so apocalyptic literature is very much in the vein of that kind of understanding that things aren't the way they've always been. They're not going to be, because there's some kind of interjecting thing in the process of that, and then trying to organize while the belief systems break down through that period of life. Or maybe we're all just getting microchips put into us, and we're all part of this massive conspiracy of the Lizard Kings to come down and take us out of our world and live in their virtual reality of Anu, whatever the hell the name is of the Scientologist interplanetary god that has us forced into these virtual realities as we experience stuff. That's what the L. Ron Hubbard people think, that our experiences of consciousness, and as they get jacked with through the realization that belief systems are actually being challenged, they think that that's actually our virtual reality breaking down, and that these massive massive planetary governors are messing with us as we have that experience. Kind of like The Matrix. Watch The Matrix, you'll like that. It's the same concept. I did not know I was going to talk about Revelations tonight. I just wanted to show the Apocalypse Tarot, and it happens to be summer solstice. And then I pulled the sun. So I guess the sun is trying to get an advocate for its time when it's like, hey, you know what? Sun needs to go night-night. Sun wants to go night-night too. So, I don't know. Yeah, I would say try to experience the body's consciousness versus the trappings of what I think I need, and the higher order thinking. The higher order thinking is sometimes not higher order. The rationalism that we've been all bred to perpetuate and listen to is not necessarily reason. Might be just a really good game we're all playing with each other, and like a movie. Yeah, like a movie. So we're all watching a movie, playing parts in this movie, and not knowing that maybe that movie has an intermission. That the movie has an intermission, you know? Maybe, just maybe, that movie is not as long-term and continuous as we think it is, or should be. And this is when times of crisis happen. You lose a job, or a partner leaves, or sudden health illness, or Natural disasters are one of them. They talk about that in the book of Revelations. There's natural disasters. And these are the things which bust up the normal monotony of belief. And they're like, well, how could this and this and this and this and this be if this and this and this and this and this happens? So it really jacks with the belief system and that imposed reason upon the body and, you know, that kind of way of experience. What I get? Ah, Christine just mentioned me in a comment. Wonder if she said something nice. Here, let me see. That was pretty long. We should go back to happy, wonderful tarot cards. Not that crazy dark place. That's the place people don't want to go. But eventually we all will go there. Now let me see what Christine said. Are you the only one in the room, by the way? I think you are. That tired me out. I'm going to see what Christine said. Oh, so she posted a picture that says the total number of minds in the universe is one. In fact, consciousness is a singularity phasing within all beings. And she was sure to say, Tim, there you go. You know, because there's one reality which exists regardless of what we want to happen. It's reality. Like if we go back through history happened. It didn't matter what people thought about those historical events. Oh wow. So it didn't matter what people wanted or thought about it. And I'm not saying get locked into time space. I'm just saying that there's a mind beyond the time space mind that happens metaphysically regardless of anything, any event that happens. And that mind tries to be known, but there's such an interference with the past. You know, it's like, hey, check it out. Here's a thought. We have bodily antenna, which are supposed to receive that thought. And we go, oh, let me experience that. But usually what happens is that gets stepped down into and this is chakra, that gets stepped down by the transmitting body into a lower chakra. Like, oh, this is my own personal idea of psychological security. This is my own sexual output and input. You know, like that's not what that information was about anyway, at all. But silly rabbit. Tarot's for evil people. I like doing that. Messing with the freaking fundamentalists that get all crazy about tarot. Sorry, I didn't want you to see that. Had to adjust myself. Did you want to do a tarot reading after that? I'll do a tarot reading for you. Let me get just the Marseille Tarot. How about we go a little lighter than all that craziness? See, I knew when I got this deck out, it wasn't going to be the happy sun. It's a sun, but it's like the metaphysical archetype behind the sun, which is, and it's even beyond that. I mean, that's just a step down version of like non-discursive reality and experiencing, like, you know, the temperature doesn't matter what you think about it. It's hot or cold or the temperature. It doesn't care. And let me get to orbit. So, what do we got here? Let's do, oh yeah, the crystal tarot. Do the crystal tarot. All right, I found the deck here. I think you'll like it. Let me make sure to count and make sure I have all 78 cards here. Yep, all 78 are here. All right, so this is, you're gonna think this deck is crazy, but it's not like that deck. We're not gonna go into high ideological stuff. This is more of the body experience of both forms of light. This is called the Crystal Tarot. So I'll show you a reading off of the Crystal Tarot. A lot less crazy ideological and Western Civ-based stuff. So, and these are mainly images that are in geometric and color kind of feeling-based reality. It's different than a cognitive, mental-based epistemological reality. We're looking right now at an ontology of how we go through these feeling states and the colors and everything. So I'm shuffling. You ready? Tell me when you want me to stop, and then I'll count a card down. Usually fry people's circuits, so don't feel bad. This kind of information usually fries people's circuits. You want me to stop yet? I'm still shuffling. I just wanted to show that tarot. I didn't really want to go into a whole talk on the Bible and Western civilization. The phenomenology of religious ideas. Platonism. We got a little Platonism in there. Still with me? Hello. Alright, I'll come back in a minute. I'm gonna go get some water. I'm not gonna drink caffeine for a change. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm back. Did you run away? I think I got a text message here. Did you want to do a tarot reading? Or do you want to hear me lecture on another topic? Would you know it's so fun to listen to all this information from people? No, from me, not even people. Got the crystal tarot. Oh, crystal tarot. We can do a reading. All right, cool. I had to go get some water. This is not, this deck is highly, I don't know if you were here earlier or if you left, but this is a highly feeling-based deck. This is not a lot of cognition like the damn Apocalyptic Tarot. This is just like, wow, I'm having a feeling from this deck. That's a really good one too, because it starts to give us an experience that's beyond thought. It's like oh, I feel something here. And it's like, what do you feel? And then accurately having the cards help. So Do you want me to stop? Do you have a card number that you want me to pick from the top? Card number 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Here's your card. Oh, you got the Emperor. But here's the card. What is your first feeling from that card? Very good. Royalty. Yeah, the reason is sitting on a throne for whatever you were saying. The male force, and it's not like penis force, but the male, that the active and externalizing and whatever energy it is that's projective is, for a lack of a better term, used as the male force in archetypal language. But I mean, you can use whatever word you want to describe that as, so it doesn't have to be like a guy force. It can be just the active force, and it has nothing to do with that at all. It could be called the father pillar because it's the active father pillar. It's not anything about male dudes, guys, brothers, fraternity, it's nothing like that. It has nothing to do with gender or sex. It has to do with a kind of extruding or expanding nature. And you don't have to put male or female on it, but it does have that particular dynamic, which it projects out and it expands, and whatever it is to that force that you're having right now is a royal force. So your masculine force is royal, is put on a throne right now, whatever that is. Could be a talent, could be whatever will you're pushing out into the universe. That is at a royal place. It's at a very highly successful and noble place. Hopefully that was helpful. I got a buzzing going off in the house. Here, let me go check. I don't know what that sound is. So whatever your question was, it had to do with the archetype of the emperor. Since we're talking about a major archetype, let me get you more information. Messages from the archetypes. This is a cool one. 23. And this is written by a psychologist. The Emperor archetype represents power and leadership and pioneering spirit. He has the masculine principle of the builder, the doer, and the visionary. This is written by a woman, by the way, not a male. In Greek mythology, he is Zeus, the father or the patriarch. In Jungian psychology, he represents the animus, or the masculine principle. Upper levels, the good father. Each archetype has a polarity to it and a gradation of how we are able to accept each portion of that polarity. Makes things stable, solid, and secure for himself and others. Adventure, exploration, royalty, and leadership. Unity of mind, heart, and spirit. Making decisions, taking action, nurturing, accomplishment, male influence, firmness, capable, willing to listen but follows his own convictions, confidence. Then the lower level of this archetype is the bad father. Immaturity, ineffectiveness, lack of strength, indecision, weak character, failure to control emotions, works toward materialistic gain with little regard for his responsibilities of the heart, lack of commitment. So that's what we were talking about in the beginning, that the heart is organizing the chakras of either one side of the polarity and all the archetypes that fling through them, or the other side of the polarity and the archetypes that fling through them. So that's what I was trying to help with. Where's your card? So here's the Emperor more Emperor from the Crystal Tarot. Was that good, Chantel? Did you like that? Was that a good reading? I don't know if it helped you. That's the card you picked. And then that was the archetype. Since it was a major archetype, that was the archetype that you were talking about. It was pretty cool. Yo, yes, it was. Well, I think I'm about to sign off unless you want to talk about something. No? Yes? No? What do you want to talk about? Do you have a question? Oh, you don't have to send me stuff. I'm not in it for like getting stuff. I mean, that's cool though. Thanks for stuff. That's so nice. Namaste. No, but like if you have a question, I'll answer your question for you. You you have a question about me? Or me? You? I don't know. You want to know about me? You got Darth Vader right there, Yeshua right there, and then you have the alchemical dualities right there. Pretty cool stuff. India, is this a question for me or Chantel? It was good. Went and met with a friend of mine earlier this morning, and we talked about Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now. And then he likes to talk about philosophy, so we basically got into Advaita Vedanta, the Indian spirituality. What else you have to share? Yeah. Well, I just gave a huge talk on Western Civ and apocalyptic literature. That was a lot to share. You know, psychological health, continuity of archetypal reality, epistemological and ontological foundations. Lots of fun stuff. But, let me show you. This is the Bhagavad Gita Bhasa and Shankara's Crest Jewel of Discrimination. These are good metaphysical positions. I was just reading about Arjuna's fight when he was like, no, I can't fight my brothers and my uncles and my cousins, and he was having this dilemma of how do you do what you're being asked to do when family is involved. And it was pretty good. I only read like 20 pages of it because this stuff is really, really deep for me. The Bhagavad Gita was what Gandhi used to teach, and he recommended reading the Bhagavad Gita every single day, all the way through, all 700 verses every single day. That was Gandhi's thing. So, I have a good memory though, so I read one thing and then I have pretty much a memory of it. But these kind of verses, they're not lightly read. It's not like you're not gonna watch like your favorite program and remember the narrative. Like there's a lot of mass amounts of information that are hidden between the words. Mm-hmm. I have all kinds of stuff to share. I could share for hours and hours and hours. What'd you do today, India? Tell me. Is there a lag in my video? Because like I asked a question, I don't know if you're still wanting to talk. I just pulled the card of justice. Justice. I wonder what the message of the justice card is. Share. does justice say? Justice. I'm looking for the answer. The universal principle of alignment and balance. This archetype reflects the analyzing and comparing factual versus false information and the action of truthful negotiation. Upper levels, justice, lifting the veils of illusion, delusion, and deception, truthfulness, fair judgment, authenticity, legal or financial balancing, the mind that is balancing and synthesizing ideas, ideas expressed through writing, research, and design, the application of creative ideas in a positive way. Lower levels, overanalyzing, doubting oneself, confusion, false accusations, bigotry, severity in judgment, intolerance, unfairness, unbalanced thinking, and lack of insight. Oh, you want me to go to yours? Yeah, I'm done. I'm super done talking. Here, let me go to your world. How do I go? How do I go to yours? Oh, I gotta get out of mine.